Mr. Mark Pearson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. My question is to the Minister for Primary Industries, the Honourable Niall Blair. The latest Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report confirms that reducing meat production is an important strategy in addressing anthropogenic climate change. Despite this, the most recent Australian Bureau of Agricultural and Resource Economics and Science data notes that emissions from animal agriculture have increased by 2.1%, driven in part by methane production from an increasing beef cattle production. Can the Minister explain what his department is doing to assist farmers to reduce their reliance on animal agriculture in order to prevent catastrophic global warming? Thank you.
Hopefully nothing.
And that's an interesting question.
Hopefully nothing.
4 minutes.
It is up all the time.
Mr. President, if eating meat is wrong, I don't want to be right, Mr. President. I want to support our farmers, and so does the Department of Primary Industries. I know the member is wanting us to continually try and prosecute a case that livestock production is something that we should be moving away from, but, Mr. President, that is one of our strengths in this state. Now, Mr. President, I know that there's plenty of research going on around the world looking at how to reduce, for example, the production of methane by our livestock, particularly our cattle. I know that some people are looking at a whole range of things like kale and some of these other types of feed products that will reduce the types of emissions coming out of our cattle. But, Mr. President, that's the type of research that we'd be interested in, not the research that is trying to transition our farmers, the best farmers that we have in the world right here in New South Wales, away from areas that they do well, that they do in accordance with the consumer expectations, in accordance with any government regulations. Mr. President, we want to support those industries. So, Mr. President, we want to make sure that our farmers continue to have some of the competitive advantages that they have, particularly as we go through the trying times that we have at the moment with drought. You know, this is a government that's making sure that we stand by our farmers, Mr. President, particularly our cattle producers, particularly our sheep meat producers, particularly any of the other producers that are in the business of making sure that we continue to provide high-quality protein, not just to our domestic customers, Mr. President, but to our customers from right around the world. So, Mr. President, I'm not aware of any specific research that we have going on with the Department of Primary Industries to try and steer our farmers in this state away from beef production, for example, like the member has said. And, Mr. President, I know that we've got a lot of research going on across the state on how we can do more with less, Mr. President, when it comes to our impact on our natural resources, on our emissions and the environment more broadly, Mr. President. And that's what we should be doing. We should be saying that we can do this better as we go forward. We can do more with less, but we're going to continue doing it. We're going to continue producing beef. We're going to continue producing sheep meat. We're going to continue to make sure that while our customers domestically and internationally want to consume these products, we'll be there to supply them, Mr. President. The view that the member is prosecuting is a minority view. Although it's a view, it's a minority view, Mr. President. We'll continue while we have customers that want it, while we have farmers that are willing to farm it. We'll continue to support them, Mr. President, and make sure they can do so.
Mr. President.